24-year-old security researcher James Clark avoided jail time by pleading guilty to hacking into Microsoft and Nintendo servers and stealing confidential information. This case serves as an important reminder for developers and publishers that no company is truly immune to being hacked and should take proper precautions to protect their data. As reported by The Verge, Clark was charged on multiple counts of computer misuse offenses in a London Crown Court on Thursday. He was a former employee at the anti-malware company Malwarebytes, and was also involved in the tech data breach. From 2015, Clark originally gained access to Microsoft servers back in January 2017, and was subsequently arrested in June of the same year, after he uploaded malware to the company's network. He was billed shortly after without any restrictions on computer use, and went on to hack Nintendo's internal network in March 2018, using virtual private networks, pleads, and similar software to gain access to game development servers at Nintendo. Clark was able to access development code for unreleased games. During this period, he was able to obtain 365 usernames and passwords, until Nintendo found out his servers had been hacked a few months later in May. The estimated costs of damages to Nintendo range between $700,000 and $1 million, $8 million, and Microsoft estimated its own damages to around $2 million. Clark was sentenced to 15 months imprisonment, suspended for 18 months. A serious crime prevention order has also been granted for 5 years, carrying an unlimited fine of up to 5 years of jail time if breached. Microsoft is bringing Mojang's still thriving blogging survival game, Minecraft, to X Game Pass next month. The game joins over 100 titles already included in the service, and brings with it its 91 million monthly users in the process. X Game Pass aims to use enticing games like Minecraft to lure players into subscribing to its service, which grants access to a library of downloadable titles, including new first-party releases on launch day, so long as they remain subscribed to the service. For Minecraft, the move could give a boost to the game's already sizable player base. The game itself came out as a very early build in 2009, and developer Mojang was acquired by Microsoft for $2.5 billion 6 years later. The game itself is supported through regular content updates, and, as of October 2018, had sold over 150 million copies worldwide. The first chapter of Glenn Parsons' The Philosophy of Design is dedicated to the definition of the word design. Parsons goes through many iterations, finally arriving at design is the intentional solution of a problem by the creation of plans for any sort of thing. I liked this definition at first, but began to grow wary when I thought about how game design fits within it. Most of it fits my intuition quite well. The primary verb of game design is certainly planning. Most of us strive to make as smooth a sort of thing as we can, given the constraints of hardware, budget, schedule, physics, and imagination. But while we certainly solve many problems as game designers, it's difficult to think about a game as embodying the solution of a problem. What kind of problem do games solve? As an educational game designer, I am trying to solve pedagogical problems, and many other serious games attempt to solve, or at least alleviate, problems in the world. There are citizen science games which tackle concrete research problems. Fundamentally, though, what problem does a game solve? Too much free time. not enough software to sell proprietary hardware. There is an argument to be made that games solve the problem of fulfilling psychological needs in their players and their creators. By this logic, you would have to art and design together, as the arts are usually associated with primarily being of use, inasmuch as they are able to alter their audience's state of mind. You might be willing to stop there and say that game design is a misnomer, and game designers should instead be called interactive artists or some such. I certainly have some sympathy with this view. I find game design to be very creative in character. But not all creativity is art. There is something about the practice of game design, especially when done in collaboration with a team, which seems more like the design of a chair than like painting on canvas. The constraints are more palpable, the purpose more distinct. Perhaps the definition is still insufficient. Note, the resolution of this conflict, I believe, comes with the realization that coming up with the initial idea for a game is indeed not a process of design, but rather an artistic one. Everything that comes after that is the design part. We are solving the problem of how should we make this. The idea may be the theme, a story, a genre, a feeling, a mechanic, or any combination thereof. But we will always need design to support and realize that idea. Think about it by analogy to the design brief that industrial or graphic designers are given. We need a logo which embodies the dependability of our company and which can be used in a monochrome letterhead. This is not a logo, but is part of the idea for one. In game design, the distinction can get quite muddied, as we are usually not presented with game ideas by a client, but rather by some part of our own team, our own mind, and therefore the process of settling on an idea and the beginning of the design process blend into one another temporarily. Skeptics of this notion might argue that this kind of artistic invention happens all throughout the process of game design: stories, visuals, music. So why should the initial idea be privileged in this way? I would respond by saying that additional artistic invention act primarily as support for the initial idea, rather than artistic objects in their own right, in the way that additional constructions may be necessary for a geometric proof. Our floral carvings might give a chair a more old-fashioned character. Taking this to its conclusion, one might say that Michelangelo's painting of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel may be, in fact, an act of design, insofar as the guiding vision behind the project was not an affecting image which depicts God's relationship to man, but an not inspiring chapel, and the painting exists in service of that. I find this realization very freeing, because, though I enjoy the ideation process and of course I have more game ideas that I could execute in 10 lifetimes, it takes the pressure off the designer to create game ideas that fit their team. Those ideas can and should come from anywhere. It also confirms all of our suspicions about those so-called idea men. We tend to meet at parties and in shared lift rides. They may in fact have good ideas, but they cannot be called game designers because they have not yet engaged in the process of design at all. So, we find ourselves out of the rain and back under the umbrella of design, after all, alongside our brethren in architecture, graphic design, industrial design, etc. Now, perhaps, with greater appreciation for the role of the designer in games and a closer understanding of what most consider the beginning of the game design process, which is not, in fact, game design. Bobby Lockhart is a game designer at Important Little Games and Code Combat. You can follow him on Twitter at BobbyLocks. Note, it's no mistake that this period is outside the quotation marks. The author is using logical punctuation. Niantic announced its Beyond Reality Developer Contest earlier today, and is encouraging devs to enter and create a game using the studio as a real-world platform for a chance at a prize pool of more than $1 million. This could be a good opportunity for developers interested in using a new tool to create projects, and the chance at earning a stipend and showing their work at a demo day hosted by Niantic. As explained in a blog post, the studio is seeking a team composition of at least 5 developers with experience in Unity and Java server development. In terms of product, the possibilities are endless. Our definition of games is pretty expansive. So if you have an idea that bridges gaming and other areas like physical activity, social, travel or shopping, please feel free to submit. The post reads, a select group of 10 teams will earn a stipend and access to the Niantic real-world platform.